Good evening, and welcome to the meeting of the Council of the City of Long Beach. As soon as I have control of my screen again. Held Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Bendo.
Present.
Councilmember Lester.
Here.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Here.
Vice President Fiamora.
Here.
President Finn.
Present.
Let the record indicate the presence of City Manager Dan Creighton and Corporation Counsel Frank DeCranis. We'll now have a salute to the flag.
I'd like to ask Police Commissioner Rich DePalma to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. We'll begin with the City Manager's report from Dan Creighton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I'd like to give a few brief community updates before getting into the substance of my City Manager's report, primarily the events that took place last week and the resultant actions taken by the City Council and myself. So to start, tomorrow is Juneteenth, the day that symbolizes the end of slavery in the United States. City Hall will be closed, the beach, rec, and Magnolia Centers will be open, and buses will be running on a holiday schedule. Recycling will take place as usual. On Thursday, the City Clerk's office will remain open until 7 p.m. to give commuters a convenient time to purchase Long Island Railroad permits. They will be doing the same next Wednesday, the 26th. This upcoming weekend, the Chamber of Commerce will be holding their vendor fair on the boardwalk from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. This is the first fair back on the boardwalk since before COVID. Bringing the fairs back was important to this council, so we're glad to make that happen. The city will be holding its own fair on July 20th and 21st, and the Historical Society expects to do theirs in late August. Lastly, the city and Long Beach Police Departments are partnering with the Kiwanis Club and Nassau County Legislator Patrick Mullaney to hold a kids' bike safety rodeo this Saturday at the rec center from 10 a.m. to noon. 50 helmets will be fitted and given away, courtesy of County Legislator Mullaney. Visit longbeachny.gov/bike rodeo for more information and to register. On to the item that I believe a lot of people here are concerned about, the events of last Thursday. We in the city are concerned, as we know all of you are, with what happened on our beach and on our streets last Thursday. Long Beach is a safe community. The beach and the boardwalk are the heart of our city, and it feels like every year is being abused by people who are not concerned with the safety or quality of life of our residents. Similar instances have taken place each of the last several years, but this was definitely the worst of them, and we are doing everything in our power to try to make it the last time it happens. Friday morning, in consultation with the council, I signed an emergency declaration granting me the authority to make certain changes necessary to prevent a repeat of Thursday. Myself with key staff, including Corporation Counsel and the Police Commissioner, then met to compose the modifications to beach rules that have since been put into place and will hopefully be codified by the City Council tonight. Please understand that we tried to strike the right balance of allowing residents and visitors to enjoy our amenities the way that they are intended to be enjoyed, while also giving us the tools needed to maintain safety. I am sure these measures will be debated later in the meeting, but I believe a good balance was struck. We expect to implement these measures in the future as well to prevent the situation from reoccurring year after year, and will keep evaluating its success or failure. Please also know that our officers have the ability to use discretion in terms of enforcement as well as make modifications as situations may warrant. What I must also do here tonight is commend our Long Beach Police Department, the Nassau County Police Department, and the MTA Police for the outstanding job they did in what was, by all accounts, a very difficult, if not impossible, situation. To give some background, the police department started getting intelligence on this party the night before it took place. That intelligence had us expecting about 500 kids on the beach. For that size event, we were prepared with additional staff kept on overtime and Nassau County PD notified and on call. Barricades were used to funnel beach entrances, and bags were checked for contraband and alcohol. When the crowd began to become disorderly, reinforcements were called in, including Nassau County and MTA Police Department, to assist. The boardwalk was cleared. The beach was cleared. The boardwalk was cleared similarly, both largely without incident. As the groups were steadily and methodically moved away from the beach is when the disturbances began, culminating in shots being fired at the train station and one teenager being shot. I want to point out that when shots were fired, our officers ran to the shooter without hesitation while everyone else fled. These officers put their own lives at risk as they were trained to do and to protect the rest of the people at the location. Police work is not an exact science, but training takes over and their bravery shows. A shooter was apprehended and a firearm retrieved almost immediately after shots were fired. Let me point out that police were overwhelmingly outnumbered and being disrespected, but operated both effectively and professionally throughout the entire day. Officers came in on a day off knowing fully well what awaited them, because they knew the city needed them. They epitomized bravery, and I have no doubt they saved lives. We owe them a deep debt of gratitude. I, for one, respect the hard work done by our police and want to say thank you to each and every one of them for their efforts Thursday evening. It is unfortunate that groups such as these that were out on the beach that night have a lack of respect for authority, rules, and our city in general. This will and cannot be accepted. Before I end my report, it should also be noted that our fire department was on the scene as well, tending to the wounded young man in the midst of the chaos. They too performed professionally and put their lives at risk as well as the police to save others' lives. Furthermore, I want to acknowledge our CSEA staff. The thousands of kids who gathered on the beach left the beach a mess. By 8 a.m. Friday morning, most residents would not have noticed it, as it looked like nothing ever happened. Collectively, our workforce, police, fire, and CSEA all performed exceedingly well under harsh conditions. I am very proud and grateful that I am surrounded by such talented individuals. A personal thank you to everyone involved. I truly hope the measures already implemented and what is being voted on tonight will help ensure that we are never put in that situation again. With that, I conclude the city manager's report. Thank you.
Thank you for the report, Dan. I just want to reiterate in one way what Dan said. Very grateful to our police department, to our police commissioner over here who just led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and the other officers that are here as well. You did what I think was an excellent job under the worst circumstances, and I'm very appreciative of it. America is going through a situation where there's a lack of civility, there's a lack of respect for the police, and it's going to be a problem if we don't correct it amongst ourselves, within our families, within our communities. It's not up to the police to make us behave all the time. Yes, they maintain order and they do crime control, but it's up to us to make sure that our children and ourselves behave properly and respect them. And Long Beach is a safe and respectful community usually. So thank you very much to the police officers, and we'll get on with the program.
Okay, we're going to call items out of order. We're going to start, before the public hearing, we are going to call item number 5 out of order, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a charitable donation.
So item 5 is an item that allows us to accept a donation for $10,000 for new Zamboni gate doors at the ice arena from the G2H Foundation. If you have any questions, I believe Mike Reinhardt can answer any of the questions that we have. I would like to personally thank the foundation for their generous donation.
I think it'd be nice if you explain it, Mike.
Yeah, sure. I just would love to, extend our thanks as a council and from the city to the G2H Foundation. We lost Garen Hagen, it was only a year ago, in a tragic accident. And what this foundation has already accomplished is truly remarkable. I encourage everyone here, if they don't know about the G2H Foundation, to look it up online. Basically, in a nutshell, one of the things, just to briefly, G2H supports school, sports, and service scholarships. They work with athletic and community organizations. G2H supports community-based charities, families in need, and first responder-related causes. You might see it, every kid in town, including my own, proudly wears the G2H Shamrock hat. You probably see them around town, or the shirts, especially, from elementary school to high school, especially the hockey teams and the lacrosse teams. Garen excelled in both sports. So again, it's really just a big thank you, and this is what Long Beach does great. Through tragedy, a foundation comes through like this, and for the community to support G2H and G2H to support us back is just incredible, and a big thank you. It's something the ice rink needed, and they will continue to support the community, and we will continue to support them. So again, G2H, thank you so much.
Questions from the public?
Any other questions? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay.
Okay, we're going to go back to the public hearing. Okay, public hearing, our first and only public hearing for bond ordinance authorizing financing for various capital projects in and for the city, stating estimated total cost thereof of $22,369,395.
Okay, this item authorizes financing for various capital projects through a bond ordinance. The total will be approximately $22 million, including around $7 million to be reimbursed through state and federal aid. Ina, our comptroller, is available if you have any questions.
Questions from the council?
Yes. Just a couple of questions. Right now, we have borrowed $6.2 million, and we're paying interest on that right now, correct? But we're lending that money out too, and we lend that out and we get interest on what we lend out to? Or is it strictly?
We earn interest, but we have to do the arbitrage liability analysis because by the tax law, we're not allowed to earn more interest than what we make.
So,
Pay.
I know that this year we cut down on our debt service, cut by over $3 million. How is this going to affect our debt service with the borrowing an additional $14 million?
So this is a bond authorization. This is not the bond issuance. What we're going to issue, not all of this will be issued when we next time go for bonding, which will be in September. If this is to be all of it, right? If we assume that all of it is going to be issued in September, there will be no additional cost in 2025 budget other than cost of issuance. Based on the interest rates, majority of this, again, I think, will be borrowed short-term until the projects are completed and we know the exact extent and the cost of each of those projects. So right now we can borrow between the percentage would be between 3 3/4 and 4%. I think the interest expense in the first interest would be payable twice a year on the bonds when it will go into the bonds. On the notes, it will be payable when it matures, the September of 2026. I believe it's going to be about on a general fund, right? So out of this $14 million, about $10.1 million is a general fund related debt. Interest on that would be about $650,000. If all of it were to be paid, all of it borrowed, all of it to be paid, the annual debt service, principal and interest would be around $1 million.
So
$1.1 million.
I think this year's, and I'm trying to, too many numbers to remember, but I think this year's bond, debt service was about 13 million, is that right?
So, yeah, this year bond service is about $13 million. I believe you're right.
And next year you expect it to be the same or less, or? I know
It depends. There is a lot of variables because there is the debt service that we're paying right now, and you see in a debt service fund, that's a combination of the short-term debt and the long-term debt, right? So it all depends on how many projects are completed and how many are converted into the long-term debt. I also want to say that every year, DPW and my office, we go through the analysis of the funds remaining in the old borrowings, and we either reutilize them towards the other projects where it's permissible by the law and with the permission of the bond council, or we use it for the debt service.
Now, each of these projects have a useful life, I believe. I think most of them are 15 years. And I think the water plant.
The infrastructure has 40 years, so
Yes.
like those, the water system upgrades and the high pressure.
The filter, that's the
Filter.
one I'm looking at.
Yeah.
The filter, that's good for 40 years?
Yes.
That'd be great. That would be great. And the other one that kind of bothers me is the salt storage dome for $1 million, and our grant portion is only $100,000. And we've looked at various ways to get around that, but that's a 25-year. That's life on the salt storage dome.
So the PPU, the useful lives, are assigned by the finance law. Each of the projects finds it corresponding useful life based on the finance law.
Based on the...
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to last us 25 years, but
Yeah.
what this one says, it can be borrowed for 25 years. Obviously, there is a lot of, I don't know if here in Long Beach it does not adjust for the proximity to the ocean.
And I guess the last question is, and it's something that I guess bothers me every year, with that we borrow money, borrowed unencumbered money, and we have right now 6 million, 6.2 million, and when we don't use it right away. Is there any way we can kind of cut that down, and so we're not borrowing more than we're using? I mean, we've talked about it before, and just kind of make it tighter. Is there a way?
It's much tighter than what it used to be. So the issue with borrowing it before we start working on a project is some of the things we really can wait, like when we, for example, purchasing a trolley, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to borrow for it, even though it's here in the capital plan, until we need to pay for it. But there are some capital projects where we're entering into the multi-million-dollar contracts, and we have to borrow in order to have cash and not to expose city residents to the unknown of not having funds, but having a multi-million-dollar contract.
And I'm sorry, this one's the final, okay?
You said that before.
No, I said final, not
Okay.
final. Frank understands what that means. The $7 million, the grant reimbursement that we're expecting, we basically borrow that and then wait to be reimbursed. And I've asked before, what is that costing us? I mean, on the $7 million, what do you think? What would you project that costs us to borrow and then wait for the reimbursement? Because when we get reimbursed, we don't get reimbursed for the interest.
So yes, we don't. But for example, let's take the trolley bus, right, as an example again. So they're not all created equal. So for the trolley, we're going to get reimbursed by the FTA. FTA reimburses us within a couple of days, literally couple of days. So there are other projects here that, depending on the granting agency, some take months and some really take years.
Years, yeah.
Yes.
It's the years ones that bother me. Well, it's the best we can do, I guess.
$7 million.
Thank you, Ina.
Okay. Thank you.
Just Roy asked most of my questions, so I just want to get clarity because maybe I missed it when you said it. We have about 18.3 million in Series A bands that are going to be maturing in September, plus another 17.5 million in Series B and C bands. So depending what happens with those, whether they roll over into more short-term or long-term, plus this, I guess what I'm trying to ascertain is your view on what's the curve going to look like on our debt service over the next 3 to 5 years. And I get there's other variables, what we borrow next year for a capital plan and things like that. But do you see the debt service curve still having a positive slope, flattening, a negative slope?
It will have a positive slope, negative for the city.
So you see the debt service
It will
continuing to
increase,
increase?
yeah. Yeah, but a lot of it depends on how, because in this $18 million, $15 million of it is for the North Shore infrastructure. All of it is reimbursable.
Right.
So at some point, it's not going to be a city's debt. Also, we have about $1 million in HMP improvement in that $18 million. $1 million also has to do with HMP, and that also will be reimbursed. So depending on how quickly these projects are completed and how fast we're going to get reimbursed, is that will define the slope of that curve.
Okay. I mean, what my concern is obviously as debt service increases, that leaves less money for the operating budget. So we're already paying about 16.5 cents out of every dollar towards debt. The more that has to go towards debt, it's the less that goes to keeping the city running. So that's where my concern lies.
So in total, the debt will increase. Majority of the increase will be from the water fund improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, just quickly, I know it's per project. Obviously, this bond amount is the max. When do we get a read on how much less than the max, potentially?
I think maybe it would be appropriate to include it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be appropriate probably to include it in the manager's report in a meeting preceding the issuance of the debt to report on how much of the debt will be issued.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do that.
Questions, comments from the public? Mike?
Mike DeLore, Long Beach. This is just a compliment, I should say. I don't really have a question. I know the Moody's bond rating, which has been beneficial to the city in the last maybe 2 years, which reduces your interest and principal cost on any bond. Any future upgrade will also help in your annual debt service principal interest. But I'm here to compliment the council, city manager, the controller, the Department of Public Works, for putting a pretty voluminous capital budget together, and I'm here to support in total the passing of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Tim Kramer?
Hi, Tim Kramer, 361 East Broadway. So again, I just want to iterate what John said, what I said in the past. The 16.5% service debt is a real problem, real issue in my mind. And we're calling them the North Shore Capital Improvement Projects. Is that what we're calling them?
Yes.
Okay. Are these going to get swept up into the STAR program, where we're going to be, getting not getting appropriate tax revenue out of this? Is that an issue, or is this is no? No. Is there going to be like structures built on this by the bay over here, or this is just like flood?
I am not aware of any ties from this grant to anything else that the city would be getting otherwise.
Okay, and then my other question is, we mentioned that we have our bond rating is better. What is the interest rate we're paying on our debt?
Which debt?
Well, the 17.5. The what is it? The 3A.
Yeah, I believe around 3%.
3%. Okay. Again, we got to get that cut down. The 16.5 is it's not good. That's got to get cut down big time for us to be a viable city and and have legs for our future. So,
Thank you. Is that Ron Paganini?
Ron Paganini, Long Beach. One quick question. The sanitation truck, what year is that truck? That wasn't one of the new ones that were bought in 2019, was it? Or 18?
That is a truck that was purchased on July 7th of 2022. It was just manufactured. It's a new way rear 8-yard Diamondback rear loader mounted on a Dodge Ram 5500 4x4.
That's the one that's being replaced? I'm talking about the one that...
This is the new one.
The old one. What year was that?
Which old one? We have a lot of old ones.
No, in other words, one of the trucks went down, right? Is that why we're getting a new sanitation truck? Because one is broke? Like...
Back in 2022?
So I believe we bought 4 back then, right?
This is the 5.
This is the fifth one. We bought five back then to replace, I don't know what.
Yeah,
year.
that was
They
in
bought it a
what,
few years ago.
2020? When we bought 5 new trucks?
This is one of those 5, right? This is the final
Yes,
of those
this
5?
is one of the 5. So what's your question? How old was the truck that...
We replaced?
Yeah, that replaced. So what I'm saying is if it's only 5 years old, they last 15 years. 10, right?
No, this is one of the ones that was purchased 5 years ago. It's just being fabricated now. So
Oh.
this is not replacing one of those new 5.
Oh, I thought you were replacing a truck.
No.
Oh, this is one
This
that's...
is a new
one of
one.
those-
Oh, all right. Thank you. All right.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, we'll close that.
Thank you, Ina.
Thanks, Ina.
Okay. onto the regular calendar again. Item 1 is bond ordinance authorizing financing for various capital projects in and for the city, stating the estimated total cost thereof of $22,369,395. A hearing's been held on this item already. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a grant for the police department and authorizing a budget amendment to the general fund budget.
So this item is to accept a grant for approximately $48,000 for a new records management system from Law Enforcement Technology Grant Program. Rich DePalma is here if you have any further questions.
Question from the council?
I have one.
Okay, Chris?
I just want to know, after the $48,000, how much generally does this type of system cost to maintain?
We're looking at a number of systems now. This, it's in the ballpark of $350,000.
Per year?
No, that's the first year. Every year thereafter is going to be over $100,000 for the upkeep.
So only receiving the grant for the first year, $48,000 will cost us $52,000,
Yeah, it's just to help with the first year's cost.
and then $100,000 there each year after.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Questions from the public or comments? Okay, we'll close that.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a grant for the police department.
So this item is to accept another grant for the amount of $50,000 from the Department of Homeland Security for installation of cameras and access control at City Hall. Again, Rich is here if you have any further questions.
Questions from the council? Question from the public? James, I'm going to ask you to please behave. This is a public forum, and that kind of activity is not acceptable.
It's a public meeting. Okay,
That's
James
right.
Hodge, and
Okay.
behave. I'm a grown man. I'm a
Yes.
taxpayer.
Okay, so
Just
what I'm asking you to do
Okay, go
is
ahead.
to not create loud noise in this room, because that is not acceptable in this
Okay,
room.
one, you're not.
Thank
gonna,
you.
One, you're not going to tell me how to speak. Okay, you can tell me not to do this, and then you get caught on the last thing, cursing. So the message that you give to people, take it yourself. I pay taxes here. I vote here. You don't dictate to me. We got rid of a dictator, and if you want to be like him, next election we'll see what we do then. Now let me go back to what I'm saying, as you trying to dictate to me, telling me what I'm going to do. So I'm up here to speak about the grant. As we speak about the grant, thank God for the grants. Thank God for the donation. Police Commissioner DePalma, thank you. As we speak about the grants, is there any grants about the communication or that could have helped the communication the other day when we said that there was intelligence that came, but yet somehow we still had thousands of people on the beach and it was out of control? When we get thousands of people all the time, what was the plan? Is there a plan with this donation to help out in that situation? I'm trying to bring the donation and the grant back, because if we had intelligence the night before, and I only heard the city thank some people, but it's a comprehensive plan when we address community things. There was the Long Beach cleanup that went out immediately after. There was community leaders that heard the call, that came to the scene and met with the commissioner and met and saw the city manager and some of the council members that was there. So I think when we're thanking people, we have to look at all of our plans and how we deal with things. It's not the first time that it was a senior cut day. It's not the first time that there was thousands of kids on the beach. I work with kids all the time. We should have thought about a plan. We should have thought about a plan, and as I think, we should have thought about a plan, because I would have told you if I had an opportunity to have a seat to speak about what this grant should go for, because when we bottleneck thousands of kids and we don't have supervision, listen, in elementary they got teachers outside, in high school they got the deans outside. How could we think, and you're looking at him for the time, but you took half of my time. So again, how could we push thousands of kids together? And it's not just on the police commissioner, but it's on you and me. I'm accepting responsibility. That's why I ran to see what I can do to help alleviate that, because you can't push a whole bunch of kids like that anywhere. I don't care what. There was a lot of racial things that was said about the kids that was there. If you don't think so, not you, but it was just a lot of people, because they said, I never seen that many kids on the beach. Maybe they never saw that many black people at one time, but it could have been any kids that got into trouble. Any amount of kids with being unsupervised would have got into a situation like that. So I finished my time, and I'll be back with the next one. But again, we need to be able to have a comprehensive plan with all of us working together, President. We need to work together. It's not just you. It's not. We have rabbis, we have priests, we have community organizations.
Thank you. I'm aware of that.
Let's work together.
Thank you
if
very
you're
much.
aware, then call that. Let's not just close the beach down when we pay taxes.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. My time is up, but I tell you,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
always
Any other
willing-
comments from the public?
Let us work together, please.
Okay, we'll close that.
Okay, item 4.
I didn't see you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
James came up and he said a lot.
Excuse me,
Okay, get
what's your
name for
name?
the record, please.
Kathleen Alalis.
Thank you.
I thank James for coming up. He said a lot, but when you speak about the grants for the police department, where are the grants for like de-escalation teams, where you get these amount of kids or you get kids in the community? Not even talking about the outsiders now. Let's talk about the kids in the community, how we deal with kids in the community. Where are the grants for these police officers to learn how to de-escalate situations rather than escalating the situations, slamming females on their heads, arresting children?
We're talking about this particular grant.
Yeah, grants.
We
So
can
I
talk
want to
about this
know
in good and welfare.
where are the grants for the community and the police to have a connection?
Thank
where
you.
the police.
So if you have a suggestion about a grant in the future, please get up at Good and Welfare, and we will certainly take that suggestion. We're speaking about this grant right now about
And it
communication.
shows exactly how much y'all really care about our community. You'll spend as much time as you want to spend about out-of-town black kids coming and
we will
destroying
talk
our
about this in
neighborhood.
Good and Welfare.
But when I'm asking you about police and connecting the community with the police, our community with the police, you trying to cut me off and telling me
No, I'm
that
trying to
speaking of
keep
good and
this,
welfare. I
trying
will
to keep
be
this,
back up in
this
good and
meeting
welfare.
orderly.
I have
Thank
a
you.
whole
Thank you very much.
spot for you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the public regarding this grant? All right, thank you.
Item,
James, I just want to tell you one thing from what I've heard. Most of the kids that came down here were exemplary. They were well behaved. And as I understand, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, when you asked them to leave, most of them said, okay. And, kids are kids, and they want some place to go. And it would have been nice if it were a little bit more organized and stuff. But I don't want a few bad kids painting a picture here. And that's all it was. It was a few bad kids, and most of the rest of them, from everything I've heard, were well behaved.
okay. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city purchasing agent to register the city of Long Beach as a participant in the SAVIC buying group.
So this item allows us to purchase fire department equipment through a purchasing cooperative that has already been competitively procured. With approval, we'd be able to buy from this cooperative without the usual competitive process. Although we could do this, we will continue to get multiple quotes initially until we are sure that this will result in lower costs to the city. Joe Miller's here if you have any further questions.
Questions from the council?
Just one, is there any cost to join the buying group? No. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? I just want to reiterate what Dan said about that you will be checking bids prior to this as well, too.
Yeah, until we're comfortable with the bids that we're getting, until we're comfortable with the pricing that we're getting to make sure it's lower than what we can get outside of it, we're going to continue to get multiple bids.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the public regarding this item? All right.
I think I may have something on here. James Hodge, this is speaking about purchasing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how can we connect this to purchasing the right communication equipment?
To the fire department, this is a fire department purchasing.
Thank you. They're part of the emergency of the whole picture of Long Beach, so communication. Thank you. Commissioner Miller and all of the volunteers and paid, this goes with that. How can we purchase the right equipment to make sure that we get the communication out? So what happened up there, a lot of our first responders and leaders and different things that responded do not subject themselves into a dangerous situation. So whatever purchasing company we're going to use, I think I can fit it there. Whatever purchasing company we're going to use, can we make sure that there's some equipment that can go from the community leaders where they can get a call on the emergency response team. I can meet the rabbi, the bishop, the pastor, the priest, and we can call our parishioners and we can go up there, and some will be praying, some will be going, but again, I just try to get some communication equipment because I was getting hundreds of calls on my phone, not hundreds, but I was getting a lot of calls. So I think it should be some type of equipment that we can get organizations and community leaders to respond to emergency situation, because sometimes children can be, or anyone, they can respond to police officers or firemen that's trying to help them in a different way than a community person or pastor or somebody's trying to help them. So again, just talking about equipment that can connect some first responders that's not necessarily police officers or firemen together, where we can respond together and have a plan A, because we already may know every year that there's going to be the end of the school year. It's going to be a senior cut day. It's not the first time it happened. It happens every year. So let's just purchase the equipment so we can know what's going on.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. We'll close that one.
Oh, we recalled item 5, so on to item 6. Resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for water main replacement in the Walks Project Phase 1 with the lowest responsible bidder, and to enter into a contract for construction inspection services.
So this item is to award a contract for the water main replacement project in the Walks to the lowest responsible bidder at just under $4.8 million. 4 bids were received. Joe Fabrizio is here if you have any further questions.
Question from the council.
I'll just ask Joe just to confirm. You know, we spoke about it earlier, but you're very confident with Novelli. They came in much lower than the other bids. Just if you can expand on that, your confidence, and you know, it was surprising how much lower they came in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Joe Fabrizio, Commissioner of Public Works. Thomas Novelli Contracting Corp. is the low bidder on the Phase 1 water main replacement project, which is basically the grid located between New York and Beach and Grand and New York Avenue. Thomas Novelli Contracting has done many jobs in the city of Long Beach, including the Doyle Street reconstruction, which was about $1.4 million. They successfully completed that last year. It was a comprehensive project. They did a complete reconstruction of the street, new curbs, new sidewalks, new colonial lighting, etc. So I have absolute confidence that they can do this job. So I definitely recommend awarding it. You're welcome.
This is just for the benefit of the people in the room that may not know what this is about. In the Walks, the water mains are about 100 years old. They're original. And they're also far too small for the number of houses that are there now. So what this is basically doing is upgrading the system so we can get rid of the 100-year-old pipes and put in proper size pipes for what is now needed for that part of the city.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. Basically on Walnut and Olive Street between New York and Grand, we're going to be installing new 8-inch diameter ductile iron water mains. Then we're going to be teeing off those new 8-inch diameter water mains and putting 6-inch diameter water mains down the actual walks that you walk down under the sidewalk. And we're going to transfer the services that currently go to the rear of the house to the actual front of the house. And we're relocating the service essentially. After we do that, we're going to abandon the 4-inch diameter water mains behind the house, and we're also going to be putting in nice decorative colonial pavers down the walks, and so it'll add to the look and aesthetics of the walks. And we're going to be adding in 12-foot colonial luminaires, which are basically, you see them on some of the streets we do. They're 12-foot high. The color is black. They're energy-efficient lights. So I think it's really going to add to the aesthetics for those of you who live in the walks. I think it's a project that's a long time in coming. I've been working on it since 2018, and I can't stress enough. It's been actually been 7 years that we've been working on this. So I recommend awarding it.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Questions from the public? Mike?
And I want to thank Mike, actually. He's been, a partner with the West End Civic Association, and we've met with them quite a few times, and they've really, been an asset to the city in this project, and Mike, of course, has as well.
Thank you, Joe. Like Commissioner Fabrizio said, this has been going on since the start of the engineering and design was about 2018. So there's a lot that happens, as any engineer knows, when the layout, the planning of this type of project. The water mains and the lead-ins to the houses are about 100 years old, give or take. I fully support this, as well as the residents in and around the walks and the greater area. It's going to be challenging, to say the least, and as the acting president of this civic group, I'm going to try to be the person who deflects some of the questions up front, whereas to not overwhelm the Public Works Department with questions that we collectively could answer. And it's also easier when we can consolidate the questions and concerns and give it to the commissioner or his office, and also to deflect any questions that may come to the council as well, or the city manager. So I just want to thank the Commissioner of Public Works and his staff, and the controller and the council for their professionalism. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. I've attended a meeting or two of when that thing was explained, when the project was explained. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll plan on having another one, but we don't know the date yet.
Right. Okay, thanks. Any other questions from the public or comments on this item? Thank you very much, Joe. Close that.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing transfer of funds for the 24-25 fiscal year.
So this item allows for transfer of $20,000 from consultants to regular salaries for the Office of Corporation Counsel. Frank is here if you have any questions.
Question from the council. Question from the public. Okay, thank you. We'll close that one.
Item 8 is a resolution confirming an emergency executive order for the city manager regarding Ocean Beach Park.
So this item is to confirm the emergency executive order concerning Ocean Beach Park made as the result of the situation that occurred last Friday. It opened the beach for the remaining days between the event and Labor Day. We did remove the item, changing the closure from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. to dusk till dawn in response to community input. However, we will reenact it if we have knowledge of any situation that may result in change in public peace, health, or safety to the residents.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council?
I have to say, for years I've been advocating opening the beach earlier, and I'm very happy to see this. I think it gets hot middle of June, Most kids are kind of done with school, so they do come down to the beach. I know that New York State opens up their beaches the Friday before Memorial Day, and they stay open till well past Labor Day. And it's great to see that the city's doing that now, at least as far as this particular week, especially when you have Juneteenth in this week, which is a holiday for a lot of people. The only thing about this resolution is I would ask in the future when there's an emergency executive order that it be shared with the entire council. I wasn't aware of the order until, of what it actually said until I read it on the website. But it was the right thing to do at the time. And luckily, everything worked out all right for almost everybody. And now we get the beach open earlier, probably from now on, forever, hopefully. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Roy. I believe you and I communicated about this earlier tonight, didn't we? This
That I said
resolution.
I love the idea that
Right.
we're opening early. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments from the council? Comments from the public? Yes, this next to Tim Kramer, right there. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I do know it, but I forgot it. I have a 20 gig hard drive inside. I can't hear you though, that's the problem. Can't hear you, I'm also deaf.
Kathleen O'Leary, Long Beach.
Sorry, I should have remembered that.
Okay. This is a very complex situation. It has happened before, but it has usually happened in the night hours. I am very appreciative to the Long Beach Police, and also the partnership with the Nassau Police, and to some degree to the MTA Police. I frankly commuted for 26 years, never really saw them, I think, once. So I'll take your word that they did something. The point is, though, that this whole fix-it, the emergency, had to cost a lot of money. And I think opening the beach early is okay, but dawn is a subjective thing. By August, dusk is a subjective thing.
It's not part of it, Kathleen.
Yeah, it's not included in this order.
Not included.
What is it then?
Dusk.
Oh, okay. What do
We
you say?
removed it.
No,
It's been removed.
It stays the same as it's always been. From
11 p.m. to
from
5 a.m.
5 to 11 p.m.
11 p.m. to
okay.
5
The
a.m.
city manager has discretion to close the beach now.
Okay,
If they hear of something, they can say we're closing the beach.
okay. So, but
It's not what the
it's just
public
going to be
thought.
no lifeguards after 6,
Right.
and anyone can come on?
Yeah,
Same
same
as
as it's
always.
always been.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I was thinking of is closing the beach to non-residents after 6 and having residents use the beach for free. I don't see this happening. We see it happening in Jones Beach. That's a public beach. Things like this have happened. But you don't see it happening in Lido or any of these other beaches along here.
So it would be difficult for us to do that in that we took federal money to both rebuild the boardwalk and redo the dunes, et cetera. So with that money, we have to be open to the public. We can't discriminate for
That's a
people outside.
requirement?
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd have to pay back the money to the federal government.
Okay, never mind.
It would also be very difficult to enforce that and work it out. I mean, checking people for ID on the beach.
I know, but if you
Right.
compare the cost of what the cleanup was for this event to what it would cost to have these kids in the booths checking ID, I think it's more cost-effective to identify people who are not living here,
Thank you.
The other thing is, these kids did not pay the fare on the Long Island Railroad, nor did they pay to get into the beach. If there's some financial maneuvering that could be done that they wouldn't see this as a free trip into the city or the beach, I think that would be helpful too. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen?
Eileen Hessian, Long Beach. My concern is about the lifeguards. I was on the beach for the past 2 days, and the water has been extremely rough because of the winds. And there were no lifeguards on duty on most of the beaches that I saw or heard about. Also, I was on the boardwalk, and suddenly there was an influx of people. It was like the bus let out, and I think that's what it was. I think people were on the train. I looked at my watch. It was 6 o'clock. They didn't have to pay to get on the beach anymore. Tomorrow's a holiday. I'm very nervous about having no lifeguards on duty when there's a holiday and there's so many people coming. I mean, it's a great idea to keep out-of-towners off the beach, but I think it's impossible. I mean, there were dozens and dozens of people going up the ramp.
This is not necessarily to keep out-of-towners off the beach.
No, I'm concerned about the lifeguards for anybody.
Right. No, these measures were enacted to control the beaches.
Right.
And we have the chief of lifeguards, Rich Borowski, maybe could explain a few things.
And just, Rich, before you go, Wednesday was always a fully open day, so we'd be fully staffed with both lifeguards and ticket takers for Wednesday. That was even before this order.
For Wednesday, yeah. But like yesterday, you had to pay to get on the beach, but there was no lifeguard there. And there's always a sign that says, don't swim when there are no lifeguards, but there should have been big signs because the beach was open.
Yeah, we're in the process of creating larger signs as well, signs that explain that you need to have a beach pass and if there's no swimming.
And Rich, can you explain where the lifeguards were and what you did on the other beaches? Because we did have lifeguards out there yesterday.
With the permission of the city manager, on Monday and today, we had an influx of lifeguards come in. So we staffed the center of town from Monroe to Magnolia, and we had a emergency response crew truck in the east end and in the west end patrolling every hour. So lifeguards were there, but again, we're very young, so a lot of the guards are still in high school, and some of the kids are still
I understand that. I understand. But I mean, I was on Washington, which was not in the center of town. It's just dangerous.
Oh, totally agree. That's why we had that truck that came by, which you probably saw come by.
I did see the truck, yes.
Okay. So we staff accordingly the best that we can.
Because anytime there's a problem, God forbid somebody drowns, they sue us. They sue us.
I'm worried more about the loss of life, but the suing is second, actually.
I understand.
Thank you. On the left, don't worry, we'll get you to you. Come on up, please.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Samantha Hurwitz. I'm an employee at Ocean Beach Park, and I feel like, for me, lots of the residents get really irritated with me for not wanting to punch their passes, and I know it's mandatory now since what happened last week, and I just feel like they should not be irritated because it's a safety issue. Also, I've seen kids without passes swimming on the beach, even during pastimes. So I don't know what to do in this situation. So.
Well, thank you for saying that. So you're a booth attendant, is that what you're saying, right?
I'm a gate attendant, yes.
Gate attendant. So I appreciate that, and it is a difficult job because people are not that respectful. And as I opened up the meeting by saying that respectfulness and civility is on the wane, it's important that the people who come up, respect the booth, the guard, the gate attendant, and show their pass. It's been that way probably for close to 100 years in this town that you're supposed to do that.
Definitely.
So I appreciate you making that comment.
Yeah, some people don't even know it. I have to tell them all the time. We've always needed to do passes, and when I have to punch their passes, they're like, "Since when do we have to punch passes?" Wait
till we get scanners. That'll really shock them, right?
Yeah.
But it's coming. But also, you're right about the signage. We will increase the signage so that everybody who comes up cannot play dumb and say, oh, I didn't think I needed a pass here at
Yeah,
Long Beach.
basically.
So,
And thank you for your diligence, because the passes were always supposed to be punched. So I
Yeah.
think it's good to see that you're doing
Yeah, no
it
problem, of
all right, so
course.
thank you very much. Breath of fresh air. In the back. Oh.
Good evening, gentlemen. Tina Posterly,
Good
Long
evening.
Beach. I just wanted to state in regard to this, so it's not changed now. The beach hours remain the same as they were. It just seems to me like a very knee-jerk reaction the next day via executive order instead of via resolution, meeting, process to define the new hours, to define things, instead of getting a community up in arms, because we moved here for the access to the beach, as you all know. So I just wanted to ask in the future if that consideration can please be given if something so drastic is going to be suggested, that it just be put up at a meeting. So that's it.
Thank you for that comment, and I agree with you, but I will say that great consideration was put into that. The entire idea of the press conference and the resolution, because I think we all felt that we needed to not just make a statement, but show that we are going to control our beaches so that we can really do our best to make sure something like that doesn't happen again. Yes, we know that this has been going on for decades, actually. June is a challenging month. So I think it was important that we make that statement and make some changes. And they're not drastic changes by any means at all. Actually, I think they're very common sense changes.
Not as you state them tonight, now that the hours are back, but originally it was dusk till dawn till dusk or whatever, which meant like
right,
a 6-ish, whatever, and that was the part that I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Good.
Matt? Oh, and Matt. I didn't see the other guys.
Evening, gentlemen. I was going to wait for good and welfare, but I'm getting old, so I'm going to go home and go to bed. You know, I think what happened Thursday night was Matthew Dwyer, Bond Street.
Thank you.
It was I'm sorry? It's rare. I think what happened last week was obviously an unfortunate situation. From the perspective of people outside of Long Beach who questioned me mercilessly, you know, it appeared as though we had been caught flat-footed. And I don't necessarily believe that. I think it was an anomaly, and I'm sure that, you know, everyone will be working hard to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Personally, I have nothing but great respect for our police, fire department, and first responders in this town. They do a fabulous job, and I don't think they get enough credit sometimes. Aside from that, on the boardwalk, safety and security, one of the biggest problems I have, and it's not just the boardwalk, it's the streets, is the lack of enforcement for electric skateboards, bicycles, and dogs. I mean, it's clearly stated. I don't understand why. The electric bicycles are an incredible danger. They go up and down the... I live on a one-way street, and every morning I got to sit there and wait because kids are going the wrong way down a one-way street, headed to school. And whether it's in the street or on the boardwalk, I don't think we need to wait for a tragedy.
I agree.
For one of our own. So I urge you to consider, you know, doing something to educate, enforce, and change that situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We have Police Commissioner Rich DePalma to address that.
Thank you, Mr. Dwyer. Yes, we are aware of the e-bike situation. We are taking measures now regarding slowing the speed of bicycles on the boardwalk. We are putting barricades up.
at peak times to slow the speed. We have special officers in the summer, and this summer we have a dedicated unit to the boardwalk. We have 2 police officers assigned to the boardwalk in the evening hours to patrol the boardwalk and keep the speeds down. It is on our radar, and we are looking into it. Regarding the dogs, you're right. There are a lot of dogs on the boardwalk, but service animals. A lot of them are service animals. But the service, there's 2 questions we can ask as a police department. And one of them being, what service does that dog provide? There are certain emotional support is not covered by that law, and those dogs, when we do encounter individuals with those dogs, we do ask them to leave the boardwalk or summons them.
Well, I do appreciate it, Rich, and you're right. And I think people that do have service animals will tell you that half of the people up there, maybe know the answer to the question as to whether it's a service animal. But you guys, I know the answer, know the questions that you can ask. But, shame on them. But your patrol, I think Tommy
O'Toole, yeah,
does a great job.
He
He
does.
calls my office all the time. That's what I do. I've educated him, and I'd be happy to, help out in any way that I can.
Sure.
In furtherance of that, because half of them are not service animals.
I agree, and I agree with you. Some
Anxiety
people
is
do
not
skirt
a
the law.
disability.
Some people do know. Some people
They
do
do.
know our restrictions,
Right.
and
They get around.
for lack of a better term, play the game.
I thank you for the effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Matt. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I skipped you before.
Michael Hawksby, East Penn Street. First and foremost, I would like to commend the police department and the fire department for an exceptional job that day. I was riding my bike with my son, 19-year-old son, on the boardwalk around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1:30. I pointed over, I said, that's going to be a problem. I said, as the day gets on longer, they're kids. We have a 19 and a 15-year-old. We're not tourists to the situation of having children and what could happen when they get out of control. Secondly, what happened that evening could have been 100 times worse. Unfortunately, there was a young man, and we hope that he recovers and never has to go through anything like that again. But it could have been 100 times worse. I also commend the action of this council to make a very tough decision, especially with the times we're in now, for action. After the fact, after something happens, you could always go back, do a lessons learned. You could change if you think that maybe the decisions you make, are not reflective of what's going to happen in the future. I'm getting a little bit older myself. I think back to things in my life. 1998, in the Middle East, on a ship, we were going to go in. The helicopters were spinning. We were ready to go in. Every day, this U.S. government was briefed, starting in probably 1997, by a gentleman by the name of Osama bin Laden. I could tell you because I was there. Every single day, we briefed the U.S. government on Osama bin Laden from 1997, 1998, and on. Inaction sometimes, oftentimes, causes devastation. Again, this is not terrorism. These are children. These are kids. But I'm here to commend the action, especially on the intelligence. I saw checking of the bags. I noticed a lot of stuff. And I think back to my days when I was a young Marine, just there. I just happened to be there. So it's easy to say after the fact, shoulda, coulda, woulda. As long as moving forward, you make the changes that you need to make if you see that some of this action is not warranted or a little harsh. But again, I congratulate you all because this could have been a lot worse. So thank you. Thank you all, especially the cops and the firemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Hello, everybody. I guess I have a question for the commissioner. My name is Matt on Vinton Street, Matt Manzello. I guess it's a question for the commissioner, but I was on the train coming back from Jamaica around 1:20 on that day, and you just knew they were chasing people out of the cars and everything. All the train cars, it was a nightmare. But I'm on a train all the time. It's always like that. No big deal. But this was when he got off the platform coming into Long Beach. The place was just like you had to walk around everybody. It was a disaster. Whatever. Are you guys in contact with the conductors? Like, because that was a lot more people than normal. You know what I mean? That's my question.
We do work with the MTA Police Department, and they do share intelligence.
Okay, so did they say, hey, we got a lot of people coming in right now, like more than usual?
We did get some intelligence about the crowds coming in. We were prepared for about 500 people. That's what we thought. We weren't prepared, honestly, for over 2,000.
Okay, right on. Just one. That's it.
All right, thank you. Liz Treston? I wouldn't question MacGyver. Why, you might answer?
Thank you. Liz Treston, Long Beach. Lies travel around our city faster than an e-bike on Ocean View. I hope that you would want to clarify any of the questions that all your residents have, and not just a few that make noise just to be noticed. The events that unfolded on Senior Cut Day have been described on social media platforms as a mob. A mob can be 5 people or 50,000 people. So I ask us all to be cognizant of the words we use. We were overwhelmed. This has happened before, and it will continue to happen until schools and our local governments start talking way before the summer. Perception is a huge factor, and it was perceived that we were not ready. Having been on the other side, I would hope that the city manager informed each of you what was to be expected, and if that's not something that happened, gentlemen, you really need to work on that immediately. You represent all 35,000 plus, not just the loudest majority. Let's also remember not to use this situation by some to empower those while degrading others. This is not new. Public safety has always had the right to close the beach. The police, the lifeguards, the city manager. Giving authority to the city manager makes this different. How? Okay, well, just a pause, take a note. Where is the Public Safety Committee on this issue? Has the council been to one of their meetings? Have they had one? There are concerned community members on there. If they are not fulfilling their obligation and the oath to the city, what's impeding their efforts? If you open the beach park and do not have access to water, how is this not false advertising? Are you letting people know that there are no lifeguards on duty? And I appreciate you, sir. But I was on the beach this morning and there was no lifeguards. I'm assuming, which is a never good thing for me to do, that lifeguards will be on duty for the holiday. And as you said, you can confirm that is true. And I looked and I'm just double checking on the dusk to dawn hour thing. I don't see that printed in the agenda unless I'm missing it. Or is it just something on the website? Is it something you're going to add?
No, that was just one of those rumors around town.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. And just one other thing, and I appreciate you very much. If because of this order, will we be able to get funding? Because usually when you make an executive order like that, we will get money to cover what we paid for. I see Dave shaking his head no.
Liz, which money are you talking about? First, the dusk till dawn
Because
was
if you make
removed.
the executive order, legal
I think what she's referring to is like,
declaration of local state of emergency.
right, when the governor declares an emergency, for
We get
example,
money.
you can get reimbursed for costs related to overtime or responding to the emergency.
Right, at the governor's level,
Yes.
not at the
But
local level.
do we have that at the local level? Perhaps we could ask the county? I'm just asking.
We could ask, but the county didn't declare an emergency, only we did. So, I mean, it would fall on us.
It doesn't hurt to ask. Thank you.
We'll ask.
Thank you again, everyone, for their due diligence.
Thank you, Liz.
And Liz, you're completely correct about the lifeguards, but I think this is an anomaly. Because next year we'll be prepared to open the beach earlier. And let me tell you, at Jones Beach, we have no problem finding lifeguards early. Thank God.
Let me just correct one. Not completely correct. There were lifeguards out there today.
Yeah.
I think Rich explained where they were
Yes.
and what was on the outside. So there were lifeguards available.
I want to ask a question because maybe I'm uninformed and I'm on the council. When did a decision happen that we weren't all notified? Because I know the next day, when was the decision made that we weren't all notified? Because I know the next day we were all in your office, just except for Roy, who was at work. So when was that? That's another rumor going around. When was that? That just didn't happen, is what I'm saying. Just for everybody out there, it didn't happen.
Okay, we have in the back.
This guy really have roller skates.
Yeah, I asked that already. Oh,
That's
down
the
the roller
first.
skates.
Good evening, gentlemen. Josh Janov, Long Beach, New York. How are you tonight? While we're talking about the boardwalk,
We're talking about the resolution.
For that's
So,
part of
yeah.
it. Okay. How many times have people had to say bike lane because they're outsiders just walking in the middle? So while we're patrolling the bike lane, could we just make sure that the special officers handle that a little bit better, because you'll have 5 people in a straight line. And also, thank you for changing the signs now to include the rollerblades and roller skates. And were there any other issues with that? Yeah, now I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, basically that part of it. And also, I don't think we should not let non-residents come on the beach after 6 p.m. It's a little discriminatory.
That's not happening.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because it's something that shouldn't be. I used to be a visitor here, and it would turn away people.
And
like
you
me
saw the
from
light, and
coming.
you came here. Welcome.
Thank you. And I've been here for 24 years now, so.
Welcome 24 times.
Okay. Anyway, also, yeah, I almost got a ticket. Some of the special officers are not aware of the law.
Sir, we're going to move on with the resolution. Thank you very much.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
In the front row.
Yeah, my name's James Hodge.
Okay, James.
As we speak about this resolution, James Hodge, 95 East Fulton Street, here in this great city, the city that I love. And again, this is not an attack on the police department. I have police officers in my family. I think sometimes we get a little mixed up. Me and the commissioner actually have a great relationship, and I call Phil Uncle Phil. But again, we talk about situations, and business is business. And as I was saying, that we can do an executive order, but it's not all on the commissioner. It's on the city council. It's on, it's on all of us. I keep including myself, for us to just, yes, there's something that happened quick, but did you call community leaders in? Did you call community organizations? And we talk about dogs and all of those things. I was the animal warden here. I put a plan together with handling dogs. We didn't have the situation that we have. We're talking about a resolution. I worked under 4 police commissioners. There was plans from animal control. I was auxiliary police officer. There was plans for any situation that we had. This is not new. You said you got intelligence. Again, it was on all of us. I'm just saying that residents that pay taxes should not be hurting because of what someone or some individuals, as Roy said, it wasn't everybody, did wrong things, misguided children, did some wrong things, and thank God that no one died. I've spoken to the family of the young man that was shot. Again, I'm going to I'm going to try to make sure, everybody, this is our city. And so, again, I will keep repeating, President, call the community organizations together. You have organizations from the West End to the East End. We do this. We work with children. Call a school in. Let me know when that meeting is, because they're going to tell you how to work crowd control with children. It's not just on the police officers that go to training, and then they're supposed to be guidance counselors, they're supposed to be social. It's too much on them, right? With certain things. With certain things. And so again, we hold them accountable on the things that we see wrong. But again, we're talking about this. I'll be back again, but we're talking about this. So this resolution was done, and you still didn't call the community organizations together. I promise you, you will hear so much wealth of knowledge in this city. We have key people here that represent around the world with ideas that can help out in this situation. So again, please, I'm willing to help. I've worked with children for many, many years. I'm willing to help you for free.
Thank you. We're going to close this resolution now.
I think you said
people want to talk.
Oh, there's still people?
Got two more in the back.
Okay. We're commenting on the resolution. Comments or questions on the resolution, please. The hands went up before.
How are you? My name is Kayla Manzella, and I'm on Vinton Street. And I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly when Ms. Treston was saying, brought up the dusk to dawn thing, and you said it was another rumor around town.
No, it was removed. It was removed.
It wasn't a rumor because I'm on.
No, it was removed.
I just said it was removed. Removed.
It was. I thought you did. Did anyone else hear him say it was just another rumor around town, or was that just?
Roy said that.
I said that, and I was mistaken.
And then
I just wanted to make sure because
a
a lot of people are here because you guys did not update. I don't know about anybody else, but the first I'm hearing about this being lifted is right
But
now.
hold on. It's been removed.
But where did you guys announce that?
Here, because we changed it right before this meeting.
So,
to remove
you
it.
have all these people coming here upset about something, and you're, dismissing people as if we don't have anything to be upset about.
So-
it's like we're all here because we're upset, and then you guys are like, oh, by the way, that's gone. Well, we didn't know that.
Hold on.
So,
It's been removed. There's no need to be alarmed at this point.
I understand that, but
Okay,
what I'm
good.
trying to say is that you're gaslighting people into feeling
We're not
crazy for, being up
Let-
here,
no, let
and
me-
it's
Chris,
just
please.
frustrating because we
What-
want to feel heard.
I don't know what
and
gaslighting means.
It means that you're
Okay, so-
pretending that we are wrong for feeling
I'm sorry I
for
said that.
caring about something, and you just changed it before anybody got here.
Miss,
We
there's-
didn't
there's-
know that, so instead of
There's no need to be alarmed.
I'm not alarmed, I'm pissed, actually.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, great. Yes, in the back.
Hi, Robert Flory, Long Beach. Yes, I just have a suggestion that maybe children aren't allowed on the beach without adult supervision. That might clear up some problems. I don't really find it to be a right for children to be on the beach because they can be hurt, and then we are liable, and they can, die. It's really not a good thing. Also, another thing, music in cars nowadays. Driving down my block.
We're just sticking with the resolution,
Okay, with the
Mr.
resolution.
Flores.
And also, mine is on the beach. Also, keeping the beaches open later. It's great that you're keeping the beaches,
Thank you.
opening up the beaches early, but keep the beaches open later because people wait for you to close the beaches so they can go to the beach.
Yeah.
That's another thing. But thank you.
Thank you. We're going to close this resolution now.
On to item 9. Second, some sheets here. Item 9 is approval of minutes of prior meeting, June 4th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Okay, and on to the voting. So item 1 is a bond ordinance authorizing financing for various capital projects in and for the city, stating the estimated total cost thereof of $22,369,395. Who would just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
This is a tough one because we have to bend the curve on the debt and get it to get it moving down. But we also have to balance that with the fact that infrastructure was ignored in this city for far too long, and it's crumbling, and we have to replace it. I think what I'm going to be doing in this next budget with the city manager is pushing for a capital plan budget that does not increase our debt. But in terms of this year, there are some very important things in here that do need to get done. So I will vote yes.
Councilmember Lester.
I tend to agree with Mr. Bendo on this. I really want to see our debt service go down. We did a great job last year, $3 million extra, but like he said, there are some important things. But I'm also hoping that we're not going to need all this money. And I can see where there are different places where we hopefully will save and not have to borrow. I vote yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yeah, just to reiterate that again, too, I know Ina and our city manager are going to work very diligently to, cut corners where we can and obviously not use the full amount. Of course, we want to keep the debt down going forward. I'm voting yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yeah, I can just echo everything that everybody else just said, but I'm just going to vote yes.
President Finn.
Who would disagree that reducing the debt and the debt service is important? Of course, it's paramount, and we all want to do it. Couldn't agree more. With that said, there are items on here today that we voted on that have been in progress for a couple of years, and that's the way these projects go. So this didn't just arise this year, and it's not totally on Dan and Ina this year. This is something that's been going for a long time. Of course, I'm voting yes.
Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a grant for the police department and authorizing a budget amendment to the general fund budget. Who would just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second? I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a grant for the police department. Who would just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second? Oh,
I
you.
will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city purchasing agent to register the city of Long Beach as a participant in the SAVIC buying group. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept a charitable donation. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will. Oh.
Who got that?
Let Mike.
Okay.
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Thank you again to the Garen Hagen Foundation for this. That out of this tragedy, in his memory, there's still positive things being done to help this city. So I vote yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
And just to reiterate as well, thank you to the Hagens. And, as a personal note, my son plays hockey, and Garen Hagen, as a senior in high school, took the time to skate around with my son, who was 10 years old at the time. He was just an incredible kid. Thank you again to the Hagens. Obviously, yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes, and thanks to the Hagens.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for water main replacement for the Walks Project Phase 1 with the lowest responsible bidder and to enter into a contract for construction and inspection services. Who would just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
This is a long time coming, yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Item 7 is a resolution authorizing transfer of funds for the 24-25 fiscal year. Would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
I'll give it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, okay.
Second?
I'll second.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
And finally, item 8 is a resolution confirming an emergency executive order of the city manager regarding Ocean Beach Park. Who would you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
City manager's monthly personnel report has been filed by the city clerk. Who will make a motion to close the meeting?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Bendo.
Yes.
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Councilmember Reinhardt.
Yes.
Vice President Fiamora.
Yes.
President Finn.
Yes.
Okay.
Where is that? Robert Flory? Okay.
Yes, hi, Robert Flory, Long Beach. Just talking about the quality of life in the city of Long Beach. I see the decline, especially with people late at night, worried about walking on the boardwalk, to loud music in cars going down blocks.
You got to speak closer to the microphone.
Middle of the night, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, people blasting their music. I mean, can't we ticket these people? I mean, it's ridiculous. They have no respect for the city. And as quality of life goes down in Long Beach, less people are going to want to come here. You know, people are going to be afraid to come here. It's happened in other towns, and I would suggest, we worry about that, because less revenue. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Ron Paganini?
Evening, everybody. Ron Paganini, Long Beach. I have my agenda, but I'm going to kick two things down the road, because for the simple reason that this council needs more time. One is the $5 million in overtime that's been going on for a while. And, of course, a fair solution to the firefighters' solution. Let's kick it down towards the end of the year. You guys need more time to figure this out. This is major money that we need in the bank. We're talking millions here. Again, nobody's looking to get fired. I don't want anybody fired or whatever. But the other issues, especially with the housing, we need a new director very soon, and we need to get rid of these trustees who were there watching what was going on. There was a lot of stuff going on. I don't have the time to get into details of what was going on there. as far as discrimination. That's been going on for quite a few years where just, certain people were getting the housing. That's a fact. But I'm not going to get into that. We need an answer to that soon. New trustees, new director. So, again, I'm asking for the 2 letters, one to the governor, one to Equinor, about the study, that we were never candidates to come through here with cables.
I wrote the letter.
You did?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
haven't sent it. I wrote it.
All right, thank you. So it's going to be in the mail. You're going to do it? Okay.
No, I'm going to do it, but
Okay.
I want to run it through Corporation Council.
All right, so next time, it'll be official.
Yeah.
So I want to move on. I got basically quality of life, and I'm done with the high explosive fireworks. And you all know what this means. These creeps who think they're funny, dropping these mortar bombs on houses from the canals to the West End to the middle of town, they should be arrested. This is high explosive stuff. The Grucci family does this, and they shoot them up hundreds of feet. Hundreds. They don't have the right equipment, so they only go up 75 feet, and the concussion is incredible. If I had my hands around their neck, I'd tell you what I would do. And I'm going to flush these guys out. I will. I spoke to the commissioner about this 3 or 4 times. We have to get it out there and let these people know. If you get caught, they should be arrested. And the fine should be excessive to the tens of thousands of dollars. You get one of these guys and you nail him, it's done. None of us can sit in our houses during the summer. It's not just, 4th of July. They drop these, and you know what?
I know.
The neighbors, there are neighbors out there that know who they are. We need them to rat these people out. I'm done with this crap. So, I don't know what to say. I mean, we're all against this.
My dogs support you 100%.
I think the whole city support, we have to get, there's only a handful. There's not a lot of these guys.
Right. I agree.
So, I mean, can we get it out to these people? In public.
Rich is going to respond.
Yeah, in public, just let them know, if we nail you, and if there's a phone number that we could use.
I think we want to make a commercial with you on it.
We will patrol, Mr. Paganini.
Listen, I talk, but I can act, too.
Yeah, I know.
I have to. But anyway, that's the story.
We will have extra patrols out looking for fireworks this season, and not just the 4th of July. Absolutely, the 4th of July weekend, but the whole summer.
But can we notify the public, these people, that if you drop these bombs, we're going to nail you? And they have to know what
I hope they're watching right now.
Huh?
I said, I hope they're watching right now.
I hope so.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And neighbors throughout the city, rat them out.
That's right. Joe Stalin would love that. So, okay. I agree with him, though. My poor dog. Liz Treston. Liz. Okay, laughing's not an option.
I'm going to be wearing a number of hats this evening. I want to again thank the Hagen family and all the families in Long Beach that turn a tragedy into something that will continue to help the many families in our future. I'd like to thank Mount Sinai South Nassau, the Department of Homeland Security, and all of the East End residents that came to attend the Citizens Preparedness Training. I look forward to the city, the COAD, and the school district in collaborating on future dates for hurricane preparedness. Okay, here we go. I'm 20 years later, here I am again. Who's the ADA coordinator now? One. Okay, if that person could give me a call, I would really appreciate it.
Frank.
Is it back to Corp Council? Because it has been over the years.
We'll have Kerry call you.
Okay. Kerry?
Kerry, yep. From our legal counsel, Kerry.
Oh, we have a new lawyer?
No, she's been here for a couple of years. I think she was here while you were on the council.
Oh, good to know. Okay, so just FYI, this maybe Joe can address this. The street by the post office, have no idea how that happened. The MTA taxi beach pass building, no idea how that happened. And my favorite subject, the mats. I know we have the best beach maintenance department. However, as I said today, I was at the beach and they're all off kilter again. And Philip, you're here, will attest to my request that for the last decade or so, I've requested that the gate attendant booths have the telephone number and all the access beach information in their booths so that when they are asked, they can tell the person where to go and who to call. I don't know now with the new rules if the access chairs are available. That's a lifeguard question. Did he leave?
Rich, you know where the access chairs are? And we'll make sure that the booths have the information.
Well, if you can't go in the water, it's so... Right. Well, I understand that, but I'm just asking about now with the new hours under this just this couple of weeks.
The hours wouldn't change where they are or who would get them out. We'll make sure that the phone numbers are at each of the booths.
Okay. That would be great. Okay, that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Liz. Kathleen O'Leary? Pass? Thank you. Reverend Ron McHenry?
No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. My name is Reverend Ron McHenry, and I just want to start out by first saying that tomorrow commemorates Juneteenth. A lot of us don't know the history of Juneteenth. Juneteenth is about the last black people that were in this country enslaved that were freed on 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation, that was an executive order, was signed by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, but it took 2 years for the Union Army to get to all the Confederate states to proclaim freedom to all those that were enslaved. And one of the biggest things that happened in Galveston, Texas, where the last group of slaves that were freed, was that it wasn't that the slave masters did not know that there was an Emancipation Proclamation. They chose to go against it. They thought that even though they were freed by the government, that they still were not free, the black people in Galveston, Texas. Currently, we're dealing with a situation in this town where 2 weeks ago, a black girl and a black mother were assaulted by a police officer who was sworn to protect and serve. I'm going to say his name. His name is Robert Rooney, and his partners were watching. As Robert Rooney was in that situation, he decided to use an unlawful police move, and he slammed Verika Wilson on her neck as Melvina Taylor, her mother, tried to pick Robert Rooney up off her daughter. She was then arrested at that time. And so just as it was in Galveston, Texas, where the slave masters thought that the enslaved were not free, it is very clear that you don't think that we're free, because you would not have treated any other citizen like that. The only thing that I can think about that Verika did wrong is that she was born on the wrong side of the tracks in this community. We need justice for Verika. I heard us talk about the police department, and sure, we should give flowers where flowers are deserved, but there has been nobody to stand up to say what was done wrong as far as what Robert Rooney did. If you guys stand with Robert Rooney, you too are child beaters. You too are in the line of those that were in Galveston, Texas, that kept people that were free enslaved. We need total accountability for Robert Rooney. We need a suspension. He slammed a female girl from our community on her face. And there has been nothing said this entire council. No one has addressed it. So you're with it. You're about to, don't interrupt me. Let me finish. And then number two, as gross and nauseating as it is to watch grown men not address a girl being slammed on her face by the one paid to protect and serve, we are asking that you do an investigation. We need a community review board. We need a review board because there is a lack of transparency with our police department, with our community.
Sir,
no justice.
Thank you for your
no justice.
Opinion, and I will answer your question. We answered it 2 weeks ago. Investigations were commenced, both internally and externally, with the DA. That's the answer to your question. Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. I answered your question. Your time is up.
As an investigation is happening, I just want to say this, that I haven't even heard a sorry from you, and I'll be quick. I haven't even heard an apology. A girl was slammed on her face. It doesn't take much for you to say sorry she was slammed on her face. No one has said anything as far as apologetically.
I answered your question. You already made your points.
Maybe I can't force you to love us, but we could prosecute you for hate. If you're going to stand here and we're saying it peacefully and lovingly, just show us some respect. But you want to come back with this rhetoric. If you can't love us, we're going to prosecute you for hate.
So I'm answering your question.
By showing some sympathy and humanity to this family, because you have not done so. Don't give me lip service. Give me action.
I'm answering
Show me
your
with your
question.
feet and not with your mouth.
Thank you very much. Matt Dwyer. Kathlena Lawless. Samantha Hurwitz. Oh, you're here. Okay. I didn't call that yet. That's the one you got.
Kathlena Lawless, Long Beach.
Okay.
I want to back up a little bit. I want to just let you guys know something. In 2022, I spoke with the city manager at the time and the police commissioner, explaining Senior Cut Day. I also explained the most popular beach and why it is. At that time, I was stunned to know that they had no idea that Edwards was the most popular beach. They knew nothing about Senior Cut Day and how to infiltrate social media to find out when it was going to be and dismantle it prior to it being, or have de-escalation teams that consist of, yes, the police department, but as well as, like James said, clergy members, activists and leaders and things like that, to ensure that no one gets hurt. They enjoy whatever they say the Senior Cut Day. Everybody's safe and sound. They enjoy the beach, and then they go home, no foul, no harm. Okay, and this was in 2022. And I see that the city still hasn't gotten it right. And I don't understand why, and it's such a shame. As a city management team, you guys get paid all of this money. You still can't get it right. No plans of actions, nothing. What are the detectives doing? Aren't they charged to investigate? And if they know this is coming up every year, they know it's not going to be in May. They know it's going to be in June. What do they do at that point? You know? Also, I just want to know, how can they get here? We find out the night before. So that, I used to call it, it was like fire. Like, we need to stay up all night to create a plan of action to combat whatever we're going to have to face in the morning. And not have ruckus and not have hate and all of these things that we're seeing on social media about the black community and things like that. No, where was the plan of action? You know, did you guys have a plan of action? Did you guys all meet with the police commissioner and say, listen, you found this out, let's come up with a solution or come up with a plan or anything? I know you guys didn't reach out to the community. I was at ground zero, and I'm calling people, telling people, listen, we need to get the community out here to help with these children, because when people see people like my color, they call us monkeys and gorillas, and they think that we're hostile, you know? And we need people that's gonna represent our community. None of you guys up here represent our community. None of you guys look like anybody in our community. And it's sad, you know? And it's like, when you have people at the helm, and I'm gonna say this, as long as we have people at the helm like Chininsky conducting flawed investigations, okay, and which are done in a lackluster way, and not obtaining facts, failing to take eyewitness accounts, accepting inadequate and misleading information, we're all going to continue to suffer and have a disconnect with the police and the community.
Thank you very much.
Whenever a male police officer is caught on video slamming a petite female face first to the ground, and the community can't get any answer, there's a huge problem. I see every officer tonight is outfitted with body cam. Were they wearing body cams on the night of May 31st? When Officer Robert Rooney was seen on camera using illegal control holds on
your time is up.
114
Thank you.
female? Long Beach, it matters who we put
Miss, your time is up. Thank you very much for your
to speak for us
statement.
and our children.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Samantha Hurwitz?
No, I'm not finished. No, I'm not finished. I have a lot of questions. Nobody answered
Right,
me
but
my questions.
the way it works is there's 3 minutes.
no
There's
way
3 minutes
racist
for each person.
Racist officials will get anything done in Long Beach. When did it become legal to use unnecessary and excessive use of force?
Please follow the
When did it
rules.
become legal for the police to falsify documents?
It's
and
important that we follow the rules.
According to a video that is given from the community after the fact. We don't want no more of your disingenuous
Miss,
hot dog and hamburger.
I'm asking you to step down from the
Get to
podium.
know us and our children. De-escalation teams not only consist of the police, it consists of our community. Community, I charge you in holding the police commissioner, the police department, the city manager.
Miss, please, you had 3 minutes to make your point. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I would like to remind everybody that the whole reason for good and welfare is that we can speak and listen. Everyone has 3 minutes to say what they need to say. If you're in mid-sentence, you could go to 4 minutes sometimes. But you use your time wisely. Please follow the rules. Let's be civil. There's no need to shout and scream. We already announced that there is an investigation into this. There are 2 investigations. There is no need to shout and scream at us. That is not civility. Samantha Hurwitz. Meg Poretz.
Meg Poretz, 65 Lincoln. I have 3 quick questions. I did not get a notification via the emergency system about what was going on, or I would have told my son who lived there and his girlfriend who took an hour and a half to get home because they live National and the boardwalk. What is the plan for the future? You have that system to get an emergency notice out. Hey, everybody, don't go there.
Well, it's a point well taken, and it's something that we have discussed. The problem was most people are calling it a riot, and in the midst of a riot, it's all hands on deck to try to work it out, somehow solve the problem. To enact some sort of emergency notification, there wasn't enough time at that time. from what I understand. But it is a point well taken, and in the after-action meeting, it was discussed. So thank you very much.
Yeah, even a quick, there's an inordinate amount of youths at, between national and.
You're right.
And
I mean,
please avoid this, it's not a good scene, avoid this
the
situation.
commission will answer.
We did discuss trying to get the word out there.
Yeah, like
And our post-event critique, we critique ourselves anytime we have an event like that. Yes, we did discuss trying to get the word out there. As the council president said, it was all hands on deck. It was an emergency situation. But going forward, we will look to get the word out there, not only to the residents, but the business owners as well.
So there'll be a person who will at least be in charge of that.
You make a good point.
Great. Clear laws, because I can't get a straight answer, and signage regarding motorized bikes, etc., on the boardwalk. What is the? I asked a policeman, and he was like,
I think we changed the signage on the boardwalk, Rich, to say no e-bikes. We've also been doing enforcement. We've put some barricades up to stop people on the boardwalk, and we've stepped up the enforcement. We've been having people removed from the boardwalk right now, and we've also been pushing it on the streets as well as putting it on social media.
Okay.
That's all correct.
Radar gun? You stand up there?
I'll take that under advisement.
And last but not least, I'm not trying to cause any problems, but the woman who last spoke asked, and it was past her time, are there body cameras on the policemen? Are they wearing them? What is the...
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Eileen Hessian? Pass. Pass, okay.
It's been turned over.
Tina Postoli?
Hello again.
Hi.
Two separate things. The first is in regard to security. I know roughly a year ago there were cameras purchased for the boardwalk, and I was just wondering when those might be installed.
I believe they're already installed and they're already being utilized.
Okay. There. Oh, hi.
Yes, we do have cameras on the boardwalk already, and we are looking to upgrade the older cameras.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then the second thing is there is a survey that has gone out right now. It's online. It's funding priorities and reconfiguration in regard to our schools and the school district. And John McNally, oh, he just walked out. But I know that there was an arrangement or agreement with the city. It's also going to be mailed to everyone's homes, and it's really important for folks to figure it out, to fill it out. So I know Mr. McNally was going to be posting it on the website, and I didn't see it there, so I just wanted to flag. I can even grab him on my way out, so.
I can mention it to him as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mindy Dovberg?
Hi, gentlemen. Mindy Dovberg,
evening.
Long Beach. I just have two things I want to share. I happen to live where Ground Zero was, and
When you say ground zero, what do you mean?
I'm saying Edwards, Riverside.
Oh, okay. When I hear ground zero, I think of
I know.
the World Trade Center.
I do too,
So
and I just-
I don't think we should equate those two.
I agree.
Thank you.
So retract what I said.
Thank you.
People in my building described that as being a war zone. They were terrified. It is, and we know it's been happening for 4 years now, but I feel like Thursday was probably the worst that it's been, obviously. I do want to acknowledge the police department and the fire department and the lifeguards, because I was told that lifeguards even stepped in. It is a thankless job, and I applaud them. I also want to mention my friend Karen Dinan said that she sent you guys an email today that was called, urging you guys to get one of these emergency apps. It's called everbridge.com, unsolve.com, and I do believe that these are event critical event management platforms that will help the city. I will say that I made a post on Facebook on Thursday evening, what is happening, because I heard what was happening. I didn't see with my own eyes. And it was only because of that post that I found out what was going on, because volleyball was canceled and everything else. But I applaud all of you. And I know I'm hearing jeers behind me for saying what I'm saying, but I'm speaking my truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mindy, I did look at that app, and I found it very interesting.
Great.
You know, that your
She's not in
friend
town,
sent
or
out.
she would have been here herself, but I just wanted to make sure that it's on the record. It's everbridge.com and onsolve.com. Thank you.
Tim Kramer?
Hi, Tim Kramer, 361 East Broadway. A couple things. I'm going to bounce kind of all over the place, so bear with me. First of all, I need some help understanding the interest rate that we pay on the debt. It was mentioned that was 3%. Is that a bond that's going to expire and then we have to refinance, or is that tied to a 10-year? It's a note. Okay, and does that expire? Every 12 months. Okay. Okay, just a couple of real simple stuff here. So, with the e-bike, there's some discussion tonight with the e-bike thing. It's not the e-bike, it's the speed. Okay, and whether you're riding an e-bike going 35 miles down the boardwalk, or you're on one of these touring bikes and you're doing 35 miles down the boardwalk, it's dangerous either way. Right. So it's not the device that you're operating or riding, it's the speed at which you're operating the device. So that's where we need to pay attention. It's the speed. So I would just mention that. And
Tim, I'll just interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
I think probably the only person up here who remembers there were no bicycles allowed on the boardwalk in 1974 because I got a ticket for riding my girlfriend home on my bike, and it was not for riding her. It was no bikes allowed on the boardwalk, and
Right.
then they decided to allow bikes on the boardwalk. So we are going through evolutionary stages here.
Okay. No, I'm just mentioning. I would encourage installing a speed limit of say 15 miles an hour. I think that would cover everything across the board. And lastly, one last thing. Why don't we have ice cream trucks in this town? I mean,
My son asks me the same thing all the time.
Every community in the country has ice cream trucks. The Eddie Murphy bit, ice cream. No kid understands what it means to hear that bell.
This does come up every few years. It did go in front of the council back in 2007, and it was voted down.
Is there a reason? I
Usually, at the
understand that one time there was ice.
Safety was the reason. That was the
It's a safety reason. Was there an incident that spawned this safety concern?
Historically, I believe, going back many, many years, there was an incident in the area about a child who was struck by an ice cream truck that started the ban. But we're talking
Really?
decades and decades ago.
Jim, are you talking ice cream bikes or ice cream trucks?
Ice cream trucks.
You mean
Well,
like
I mean,
Mr.
bikes.
Softy. You mean like Mr. Softy, right?
You hear the ding. I knew it when I was a kid.
Yeah, they used to come through Long Beach too.
Yeah, you would go bananas as a kid.
I don't remember when they were banned though.
But I would encourage bringing that back. I think it's
I agree.
It's an American,
Yeah, right.
dream to have that truck come down when you're 5 years old. You lose
Apple
your
pie
mind.
trucks too, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Thank you. Christina.
Hello, Christina Kramer. Yes, bring back the ice cream trucks. We were at Jordan's, and that's when we heard that delightful bell. Really, just bring them back one day a week. Let's start revolution.
When you say Jordan's, you mean the lobster place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not the other place.
All right. Here,
Right,
I brought you some cards. That's our new paraphernalia. I just want to give you updates on Equinor and the turbines, which you would be looking at if that goes through, blinking red and white lights there. Just want you to know that there's another group that has taken form. It is Protect Our Coast, Long Island, New York, North Shore. And this is a group of North Shore people who are in outrage and alarm that they are looking to install battery substations in Oyster Bay and Glenwood Landing, just like they want to do in Barrett, the Barrett Power Station. They are not taking away the fossil fuels. They're just looking to add battery substations. These are extremely harmful, toxic, poisonous. If they blow up, there's no escape. There's no evacuation routes. These are horrible for the people. But the most important part is that Propel New York, which is the company that wants to install the high voltage electric wires, not from here, but from the Barrett plant to North Shore, South Shore, and upstate, they are in charge of the electric power lines, and then another company called Jupiter is in charge of the battery substations, and all three of these projects are interconnected with the turbines. If they get to drop their lines all over Long Island, that's going to cause Equinor to be able to plug and play once the governor allows this Rapid Act to pass through and shove this down our throats. They'll say the infrastructure's already in place, so let's just plug and play. We already have it there. So there's another group that's fighting hard and strong, just like us. I did want to reach out to Mr. DeCranis and find out about the company that you're looking to hire as outside counsel for the wind turbine situation. I also am interested in knowing the name of that company and the lawyer so we can vet, because that's what we do. And I'd like to know if you're still considering hiring Ben Wisniewski, our lawyer, as corporate counsel, a consulting counsel, because he's expensive and the residents who are paying for this really shouldn't bear the burden. And, sorry, I also was hoping that some of you were following up on Virginia Beach, which is going through exactly what we would be going through on Riverside Boulevard if this gets approved. 24-hour noise, cracks in foundation, lights all night, diesel oils all night, and their residents are set back and our residents are right on the beach. And then the last thing, because I know I got hardly any time, really quick, the civic associations. I've been in East End for over 25 years. We don't have meetings. Nobody sends us emails. We don't have get-togethers. West End turned me down when I wanted to do a presentation there. All of the civic associations were turning me down at that time because Ron Walsh was running around saying it's a done deal. So how do we get active with the civic associations? Like, do you talk to them? I've sent emails, I've sent letters, I've spoken to them. Like, what goes on? Why do we have civic associations outside of West End, which I know is very active, but the rest of them, they're all sleeping? What's going on? That's it.
That's
Sorry.
a complicated answer.
That was a lot.
We'll
I know.
talk.
But Mr. DeCranis, could you just answer my question, or am I done?
Yes, I spoke to a firm, but I spoke to Stephen LaSquadro, is the attorney that's going to be handling it. He's handling it for the Sands Casino. He's handling that for the town of Hempstead. He's got credentials, very, very, much exposure in the power industry, and he's been around the block a long time. Very satisfied with him. I spoke to him today. He's supposed to send me a letter of understanding, and we're working on a retainer for his firm. He also has other people that he consults with that I've spoken to, very well-respected people. So I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing.
All right. Well, we're hoping he's going to reach out to our lawyer as well, because nobody knows more about this case than he does. But thank you.
I've asked him to. I've told him I've given him some papers, and when he will talk to Mr. Wisniewski.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Michael Hawksby? Pass? All right, thank you. James Hodge?
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. I stand here the day before June 19th, A moment of silence for the ancestors that are crying out through the Middle Passage, 400 years of slavery. And it seems like some people don't still hear the people crying out today. As we get ready to celebrate June 19th, tomorrow, the oldest celebrated Black History Day, Black holiday, when we celebrate freedom. Invite you to celebrate with us and all those that will celebrate freedom. It took 2.5 years, but yet when we think about one of the darkest times in our history, how people were jumping to their death, thinking about being raped and tortured and traumatized and going through all the things that they went through. We celebrate June 19th. I ask that you, if you don't know about it, the city didn't do anything for June 19th. I'm not sure, but it's good that there's a celebration in our city because everybody's history is important. Not when we talk about Black history, we say, let's move on, we're past that. But I was just at a wonderful service recognizing the torture that happened and letting people know about names, not numbers. Everybody's history is important. Your history and my history. So I come up to the beach, and I'll just say this, better planning. And now I'll get on to the young lady. We say we have body cams. We say the district attorney is investigating it. We have a lot of people here. You can't make, it's not about how great the cop was. It's the incident. All across this country, there's immediate action. You had immediate action and closed our whole beach, and you saw a videotape of a young lady being slammed to her face. Was it protocol? You don't need the district attorney to tell you that. You're a decorated officer for 30 years. We have a great corporation counsel. I like the Cranners, Judge Cranner. I call Phil my uncle. De Palma, I've worked with him, worked with a lot of these police officers. But yet, there's an incident that happened. And so when the young lady comes here, I hear the ancestors saying, we were crying out for years and nobody heard us. And now that's a mother thinking that that could be her daughter, that nobody is saying anything, but yet there's an investigation. But a day after, a few hours after that situation, we closed the whole beach to people that's paying taxes. And you can't say that somebody's on a suspension. Listen, whatever it is, it shows that you are insensitive to our needs. I know my time is up. But and then you have the audacity to tell me that we can't yell. So what am I supposed to do? Keep my mouth quiet or keep my mouth low? We wouldn't have never been out of slavery if there wasn't revolts, if there wasn't people speaking up, if there wasn't people doing what we're doing. And so I will raise my voice in honor of my grandparents, in honor of my family from the South, just like she's raising her voice, trying to get you to honor her request. There's a young teenage girl. We don't know all of the details. The city needs to say something. Across this country, the police department comes with community leaders and they say, listen, this is a situation that we're doing. Not just leave it. You had body cams.
We have discussed this. Thank you very much.
Did you have body cams?
We have discussed this. And there is a better way to discuss it than the way we're doing it right now.
No. You
yes,
discussed it on record. So I will say this.
The investigation is ongoing. We told you that 2 weeks ago. It continues
well,
to
listen,
be
and I'm going to keep coming back because you don't know me, right? And you're getting to know me. When it comes to the community and any concerns, I'm ready to go to jail when it comes to the community concerns here in the city of Long Beach.
Thank you very much.
Black, white, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Stand up for the people, and that's what I'm doing. And so let me say this, and I'll finish.
No, your time is up.
Okay, and I'm going to say it. You said last week.
Your time is up.
You said last week.
Your time is up.
You said last week.
Be respectful. Be respectful.
You're not
being respectful.
You're not being respectful. You're not being respectful. What did you say at the end of that meeting? Nobody ever heard me curse. And I asked God for forgiveness for this. You said, I had enough of that shit. Has anybody ever heard me curse before in my life? That's
Thank you very much for coming.
Because you had the audacity to say that when we were talking about the pain of somebody from the community. What did you have enough of? When did you become a toilet bowl? That you have enough of shit? Huh? Finn, I respect you. We will talk after this, but again...
No. We will speak right now. I will respond to you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Sit down.
You don't tell me what to do.
Okay.
I'll stand here.
Then I won't respond.
Well, that's not how you talk to me. Here's the
I say thank you, and I'll respond to you.
Okay, tell me what you had enough of.
Okay. First of all, that was a private conversation.
It wasn't private, it was on public TV.
No, it was a private conversation. Secondly, I didn't edit anything. Secondly, the way we deal with each other here should be respectful, not theatrical, not shouting and screaming and yelling. You could do whatever you want, but if you want to solve problems, we solve problems by talking and listening. No, I'm speaking.
When you're doing the mega running on it's on your Facebook. When you're shouting.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
When you're shouting, don't you shout?
That's it. Good night. Okay, thank you.
We shout. This is part of life.
Okay.
And I still love you.
That's the end of the meeting.
I still love you.